Okay, we might do a little lawn and garden tour here, but before we do, let's check on all the beehives. I'm particularly watching this little swarm trap I got up there. I'm tickled to death that we've got some new bees, and they seem to be doing really good. So here's the first one, the double deeps. Lots of bees. We're expecting a bigger harvest this year than last. We think it's really going to be a good year for us. This hive is super busy here. It's this one and the last one up on top of the hill is the only two that are single deeps. The rest of them, as you can see, are double deeps. This peach hive is my own design, and I like it. This blue hive is empty, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to transfer this swarm that I caught into the blue hive here. I had planned on leaving them in that swarm trap because it is insulated, but I did such a terrible job on it. It's bucking up there because the wood that I used was so thin, even a good paint job didn't help protect it from the dampness. So I think I will probably just, when I check them, I haven't opened the box yet. But I think when I look at them, first I'm going to just go ahead and put them in the blue hive. And so the strange thing about this hive is they are somehow making the top cover the entrance. But now today they seem to be using the entrance like they're supposed to more than they have been. This purple hive is also an empty hive. And this hive is another single deep. And this hive is really strange in that you don't have to see as many bees activity. You don't have to see as much bee activity on the outside of this hive as you do the rest of them. Yet, when you open this hive, there'll be as many bees in that hive as there'll be the others. I don't know, they're just different type of bees or something. All right, now we'll go down here and check the garden. I guess the first thing to mention about the garden here is that before we added this electric fence, we would sometimes have beans planted, and overnight the deers would wipe out an entire row, and all you'd have was a little bitty piece sticking up out of the ground. And so I decided on electric fence. It's solar powered, and I will tell you that it worked. I think more than anything, it trains them. It don't take a few times from getting shocked. They know to stay away. They can see the strands are white, and they just remember to stay away. The next thing I'd say is the marigolds. You know, I've heard for a long time that marigolds were really good about keeping insects away. And if you'll look at our garden, I believe I have to think that idea of marigolds keep the insects away works. We've got the healthiest, best looking plants this year and garden as I've ever seen. But let's go back to our garden method. So we have, like a lot of people are going to, we've been on this no-dig garden for a long time. So we established these rows. We bring in dirt, planting soil, and we establish rows, and we establish permanent walking paths and rows. We cover the walking paths, as you can see, with plastic. Then we put hardwood mulch, and so we have a lot less weed problems. But as you can see, these tomatoes are looking mighty good. I think it's the best at this point that it's been in a long time. All they like is getting ripe. And I'm in a hurry. I'm really anxious. I want some Mater sandwiches. Another marigold. Peppers. The peppers I didn't think was going to make nothing but leaves, but they finally started bearing quite a few peppers. And the bush bean rows is a disappointment in the fact that where we bought them, they're bad about having what you buy marked one thing, and you get them home and get them growing, and there'll be something else. In this case, it cost me the trouble of putting these posts up for pole beans to run on, and they turned out to be bush beans. It's a lot of work for nothing there. More peppers, bell peppers, squash. We've already harvested, I don't know what the beans is. And of course, here's the okra. It's more flowers, and I can't tell you what the name of these flowers are, but it's like got some buds on these. More marigolds. Blackberry bush that the frost got it. We just can't have any luck with frost killing everything. We got this big pear tree over here. Didn't get a pear because of the frost. But I love these blackberries. You know what? They're bearing again. Well, that's good. I didn't know they'd do that. We got more blackberries coming on. I didn't know they did that. So 6 raised rows with a middle section for squash and cucumbers. And then we got 8 raised beds. Really like raised beds. You know, this method is not that hard. I mean, once you get it done, it's done. And I love it. Here's Sue's bug catching thing. She's catching these Japanese beetles and throwing them in this jar and killing them that way. You'd be surprised, but it does work. It helps a lot. And here's a strawberry bed that's just covered with blooms and no strawberries. Well, we found out phosphorus is too rich in nitrogen, and that makes it just bear all foliage and no fruit. By the time we found out about that, it was too late to do anything about it. This white you see on there is some bone meal. That's about the only way to add phosphorus, but it was too late. These are Irish potatoes. And while these over here are sweet potatoes. So potatoes and onions. And I've got a bed of each. Well, I don't have a full bed of onions here. The soft dirt, man, you can't beat raised beds. Them big old onions. And then I think these are peas. I think she said these are snap peas, and then this bed of asparagus. I'm totally lost when it comes to this stuff. I don't know when to cut it back and when not to. And more squash, cucumbers, and eggplant. I think the little tomatoes are going to be little striped tomatoes, looks like. Okay. Now let's go over here to the fruit trees. I don't remember how long this fig bush has been set out. 2 years, I think it's 2 years. And then we got 2 big blueberries at the church. One of the boys' church was having to dig them up because they were doing something there. And they would look to me like they're just way too big to transplant, but they went ahead and tried. I didn't have to do it or I wouldn't have done it. I just thought they're too big, and I think they might be. But we still got some green growth. Maybe they'll come back. I think if we'd have watered them more, it'd probably been all right. But it's so far to pull the hose, we didn't do that. But we've, a long time ago, decided to concentrate on native plants. And so this tree here is a black locust. It gets 20, 30 foot tall. It's a real bushy-like tree. It has huge blooms. Blooms just a matter of a few weeks, but the blooms are huge, and the pollinators, particularly the bees, love them. So I got 3 or 4 of these. I'll show them to you right over here. There's some more plants for the pollinators. I've got some lavender plants right here. These are the best type of lavender for pollinators. This is English lavender, I believe. It don't say, but I believe it's English lavender. And then these come from the mountains, these bushes here. Clint is a mountain boy. He loves the woods, he loves outdoors, he spends a lot of time doing it, and he's really good on his plants. And so he knew that these plants bear stuff that the bees love. They have little berries on them. I can't tell you the name of them. Here's some more lavender, but they're a different type. And then here is this black locust. This is the biggest one. These are 1.5 years, 2 years old at the most. And for some reason, this particular one has outpaced the others. Here's the 3rd one over here. All right, right down here is another plant I'm really anxious to see, see it mature. This is elderberry. And this tree was dead. I thought it was completely gone. And here it's looking pretty healthy, but I think something has took a little bite out of the stupid thing. I guess I need to put a fence around it or something. It had a piece about this tall. Look at it, it's gone now. Okay, so varmints. I never used to hate deers, but I do now. We've seen as many as 9, 10 deers out in that front yard right by the road. Grazing around right in the front yard. Okay, here's a peach tree that's done really good and has never bared the first peach. I don't know if it's because it's just one of them or what. These are 3 apple trees, or 4, I think. We didn't even know if they'd grow. They're mail order trees, and they looked like they was dead sticks in a bag when we got them. And here's the muscadines. They're starting over. The dirt's so poor up here, it's just chert. I dug the holes deep as I could. It still didn't make no difference. That's why all these trees are struggling now. And the blueberries. Okay, down here, I'll show you. Here's the rock garden. We've focused on ferns, as you can see. These obviously love the spot. We've added some that hadn't loved the spot near as much. There's 3 that's all doing it. And I can't remember what this 3 little plants are right here. But this spot right here is got a drainage problem. It comes off right down through there, and when it's wet, it's really wet right here. And then over here, we'll get over here and I'll show you our azaleas. I'll start with, it's not an azalea, but it's a rhododendron. And it is really a beautiful bush. When it's in bloom, the blooms are huge, and there's a lot of them. They last a good long while. All they didn't this year because of the frost, I think. This rose, knockout rose, it was doing great. And somebody told us to cut it back, and we cut it back like they said, and it's barely surviving after that. And so here's our azaleas. And I forget what kind of bush this is. This is. I think this is a baby rhododendron, like that big one over there. And I don't remember what this is, but we really like these. They're so big. I mean, they really are beautiful. And when they flower, they really flower a lot of blooms, a lot of little small white blooms. More azaleas. More azaleas. Sorry about the newspaper. We need to come pick that up. And here's a plant that was doing good, and I accidentally mowed it down, and it's struggling to get any life back to it. It's called a green and gold. It has really beautiful blooms. And these trees up here, I've got 3 of them. They're a little leaf linden, like the black locust. They get about 20 to 30 foot tall maximum. They're real bushy trees, and they got big, beautiful blooms on them, like the locust, black locust. It doesn't bloom long, but the pollinators love them. So we got 3 of them. Then we got a crabapple tree right here. And then we got some hard work showing right here. This bed extended just past the daylilies over there, and about a week ago I doubled its size or more, maybe triple. A lot of pine straw. And these are eastern redbuds. After I bought these at the Walmart, I lost the 3rd one there. After I bought them at Walmart, I discovered you could get them right on the side of the road for free. And I don't remember what this pink bush is. I think I do know what this is. A coneflower. These are the first 2 blooms on this, but I don't know what they are. I don't know what that is. Dailies are so I'm trying to bloom a second time. I don't know what these two are. They have little blooms. You got Sue's hard work showing over here. The planters. Four of them. I don't know what that is, or this here either. That she tries to keep drainage, and drainage need to be doing a lot better than that to really make a difference. They're really pretty if you get a big bunch of them. And these are, I think these are morning glories. And I guess the reason they call them morning glories, the only time you see them blooming is early in the morning. And I don't know what this climbing tree is, but it always does good. I doubt if Sue meant to have the purple. One of those, she usually gets these red ones like this. Okay. On around here. We have so much junk we had to add a second building. And I don't even remember what these plants are either. And I lost one of them. I had 4 and I'm down to 3, and the deers nibbled all the leaves off of that. They stripped that first one there just about. It might make it if they'll leave it alone. And this flower's been blooming. It's got lots of blooms, little small white blooms. And I forget what this flower is. I think it's a salvia maybe. I don't remember. But this is a wild plum. Or cherry, I can't remember which. I think this might be the cherry, and that here's the plum. And of course, you see the big banana trees. You know, I love them things. I didn't know they're so easy to grow. You get them started, they get that high in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years time. They always come back. So this is the wild plum or cherry one. Can't wait to see what they do. Don't know what these 2 bushes are. The insects won't leave alone, but they just covered this with little tiny black. Seemed like they had like a little red spot on them. We tried using neem oil, it didn't work. They just ignored it. And you might know what these are, but they really smell good. And then some lavender in pots. This is the English lavender, the best kind for pollinators. And that's it for the garden tour, lawn and garden tour. So, a lot of hard work, but since we retired in April, there's nothing else to do, so it looks pretty good, especially the garden up there, the best it's ever looked.